All right, my clock says 9 o'clock. Hopefully everybody has figured out how to get logged in today and didn't have any troubles. I know today is a crazy day for a lot of school districts as it is Homecoming Friday. There are abbreviated days and parents and kids are all confused. Anyway, that's how it was at our house, trying to figure out who was going to pick up the kids and get them to the parade. And so I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate those of you that found the time in your day to listen in, and I will try next year to plan better, because it was crazy at our household as well. Hopefully I can teach you a thing or two, and if you weren't able to get logged into this video, or if you need to watch it again, we are recording this video, or this webinar, I should say. So without further ado, let's get started. Most of you have used this system, and this is going to be a refresher for you. Most people use more than one computer, these days, and there are various browsers. This software works regardless if you're using Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Safari, or Firefox. So it is user-friendly. To access the personal record form website for submitting your data, you need to go through the website that I have listed on the screen. And then you will be able to log in by clicking on the PRF login screen. That's going to bring you into this screen. The one trouble that seems to happen every year is the first 4 digits are capitalized letters, and the next digit is a number. It's not the capitalized letter O. The next 2 digits are capitalized letters, and the last 3 digits are numbers. And as you can see, the letter O and the number 0 look very similar, and at times it's confusing. I have to use my login because I set up a fictitious school district. And you can either follow along, watching this screen, or you can get logged in using your login, your username and ID. If you don't have your login name and password, then you can do the following. You can ask your superintendent for the username information that your predecessor made use of. Otherwise, you can contact Deidre Giesinger, and she will give you your login username, and she can reset the password. She cannot view the password that was set previously, but she can reset it, and you will be required to type in a new password of your choice once she gives you a temporary password. And otherwise, your screen launches, and you should get to this screen. You will now see the PRF screen, and the chart that displays provides a visual display of the data requirements that otherwise are going to become increasingly apparent as you walk through these menus. But we're going to just take a minute to find out exactly what each of you will need in order to complete this data submission. So if you're a public school district, you're pretty much going to be required to submit each and every one of the menus. But if you look at maybe like a state special school, they are not required to submit salary or plan of intent. And so on and so forth. So, I'm going to cover everything in this webinar. When I go into certain sections that maybe your district does not have to submit, you can just quickly go get some coffee, or take a quick potty break. For most of you, your screen is going to default when you log in to the district that you are submitting data for. We created a fictitious district called Apple Blossom. To get to the first screen, you need to click on Actions and then click on District Information, and then the Qualified Staff by Assignment. So this screen is just simply a tool for you to use. You do not need to input any data into this menu. If you click on the assignment description drop-down box, you're going to see all of the various assignment codes that the State Department has in place for you. If you have turnover in staff in the middle of the school year or whenever, you can come to this menu and let's just pretend like your Algebra 1 teacher broke contract or left on you or whatever. And now you're kind of stuck and you need to try and figure out, if maybe somebody can cover for this teacher. You can come in and select Algebra 1. And then it's going to tell you to teach this, you need to have either a major in math or an endorsement in math. If you go to the next tab, it will tell you, let's just pretend that Mark Klein has left Apple Blossom, and we also have Alice in Wonderland that could fill in and maybe teach some of his classes. It just simply tells you those teachers that have those licensures that you have employed in your district. The next tab, for those of you that work for a public school system, they not only need to be state certified, but they also need to be highly qualified. And so this just simply takes you out to the Teacher 411 site, and because Alice in Wonderland is a fictitious name, we cannot look up her certificate, but for this example, I'll just use myself. I'm a math major, and oops, I gotta spell my name right. And we can go out to my license. You can tell by looking at my license that I do have the math major. To view what I'm highly qualified to teach, you can click on this link, and it's going to tell you what your staff are highly qualified to teach. For those of you that work in a non-public school system, this, is not going to benefit you, but you may use that to see if your staff also have their highly qualified status. Right, I've got a message. If I'm doing this, am I doing something wrong? Okay, Matt's taking care of that, so we can keep going here. So again, this is simply a tool that you can use, and you do not need to input any data into this menu. The next menu is your district school information menu. Again, I just clicked on that menu, and this screen, the data that's required is you need to input the teacher base salary. It looks like I had these webinars yesterday, and I tried to go through and delete out what I encoded, but I forgot this screen. So this teacher base salary is the beginning teacher salary offered by your district. The base pay depends on the school district and on the actual salary that you put on the screens will depend on the teacher's qualifications and experience. So Do not increase the base salary for those that are beyond a bachelor's degree or because of their years of service in increments. You will just put in the base salary and click on the update salary, and then that salary is done. The information for the attendance center is important. The Department of Ed changes your attendance center and ed structure collection. We load this from Jennifer Radley's ed structure. It includes the name, the grade span, and this is due to her. So you cannot come in and change the grade span or anything. You would need to contact her if you've got a change. We do create for you this fictitious system-wide attendance center. That's not something you submit to her. But in some instances, it's easier to code like your superintendent or your school service specialist, such as a speech-language pathologist, to system-wide. That way you don't have to try and break out their FTE between the high school, the elementary, and the junior high. It's hard to know from week to week probably how much time you spend at each site. So you instead can just use this system-wide attendance center that we created for you. Okay, so as far as what you can do to modify an attendance center, when we roll this data forward into the new school year, if you happen to have a different academic term, it can be difficult to know where you stand if you move from a school that used, say, a trimester credit to a semester credit or vice versa. But making this adjustment is a simple mathematic matter when you're converting previous 4-part, say, quarter, if we were to use apple blossom, to a 3-part trimester system. The system is intuitive enough, and it will update all of your assignment records on your personal record form. But the conversion formula for anything less than a full year will require you to manually correct the academic terms for each particular subject on each personal record, because the system can't figure out how to prorate one quarter, say, to one trimester. So you will have to start over if you switch from a quarter to a trimester for some records. So I'm just going to demo that for you really quickly here. If I were to change this Apple Blossom Preschool to a trimester system and then save this record, it's going to give you this error that changing the term type will also update all of your assignment records for this attendance center, and are you sure you want to do that? If you decide that you do want to do that, which we're going to do today, I know I don't have that many records assigned to this preschool, so I'm okay with it. But to see if any errors are detected, you're going to need to skip down to your insurance statement, and you need to go to the all error reports have been run and corrections have been made. Once you click on that report that it generates, it's going to intuitively convert most of the records if it was a full year class. But for those that, just had maybe one quarter or one trimester, it's just going to leave them for blank. So it's giving us the error that Wendy, requires resolution because at least one quarter or trimester must be selected. Now, again, this is a fictitious name, and this is a fictitious Social Security number, so it's not real. If we were to go into the staffing menu and look at Wendy Pratt's record, you will see that all of the quarters were removed from her record because we moved it to a trimester system, and it's just waiting for you to edit that entry and say that this is being offered for a trimester or 2 or 3. So any questions on the district school information screen? All right, I'm going to keep moving. The next menu that we're going to is the Staffing Teacher Administrator School Service Specialist. SSS stands for School Service Specialist. A personal record is required to be submitted for all individuals employed in a position for which certification is offered through the Department of Ed. This includes all instructional, administrative, and school service specialist positions. Now, this is a trick question, and I know this isn't an interactive webinar, but I want you to think about this because people will try to code data in this manner. School districts, for those school districts that contract personnel through the co-ops in South Dakota, should you report a personal record for those people? That's the trick question. And the answer is no. Each co-op is required to report their staff, and then the Office of Certification and Teacher Quality will check to make sure that staff is properly certified. For those staff that are special education, we will show you in the SPED contracted services how you can review what the co-op is listing as services to your district. So again, to log into this menu, I clicked on Actions, and then I clicked on District Information, and then I clicked on the Staffing Teacher Admin School Service Specialist. And again, this district called Apple Blossom has been created to use for this training. The names, the social security numbers, and any other identifying information is not real. These are not real people. So to start with, you just click on the icon next to the person that you need to edit, and that will bring you directly into that person's individual record. You're going to see the following screen, and the information from the previous year is going to be rolled forward. So if you've previously completed the race ethnicity question, then there's going to be a plus sign by the demographic. If you need to make a modification, you can always click on that plus sign and change the gender and the federal race ethnicity. If the person you are updating was reported last year and did not let their certificate expire, their reporting type will be pre-filled. We're going to skip over the no longer employed field. We'll go over that a little later in the webinar. But this individual had a valid license, so the reporting type was left as teacher. There's various reporting types. There's teacher, administrator, school service specialist, or instructor. It just depends on what type of license the person was issued through the State Department. This individual has both a teacher and an administrator license, and it really doesn't matter which one you pick. In this case, she was employed as a 5th grade teacher last year, so we're just going to leave it as teacher. If you have someone that is an administrator and also teaches a few classes, it doesn't matter which one you pick. The thing you want to pay attention to is the red flag is when you see under reporting type non-certified educator. If non-certified educator is appearing under this drop-down, it could be various reasons. Either you used the wrong social security number when you added this record, or this person could have a renewal application into the State Department that hasn't been processed. Now, I just want you to know this year the certification officers have worked really, really hard, and they are caught up on processing applications pretty much. So they should all be processed. And otherwise, the person could potentially have a lapsed certificate and need to apply for licensure. Or the last scenario would be someone that just doesn't realize that they need to apply for licensure. So you need to, if you see non-certified educator, that's your red flag that you need to follow up with that individual. Otherwise, the data is rolled forward. The status code is pre-filled. If you use the code of new employee last year, when we rolled this data forward, we switched it to employment in this school system has been continued. And so that pretty much should stay the same. As far as salaries, you will need to update their salaries. And as far as the breakout, it needs to be broken out between instructional and between administrative school service specialist salary. In this case, I'm leaving the admin school service specialist salary as 0 because this is an instructional record only. The total teaching experience needs to be updated. We've been asked before to update the years of experience as we roll forward that data, but unfortunately we don't know who you've signed contract with for the following school year, so we can't up that experience. But you will need to update the teaching and admin school service specialist experience. The total calculated FTE field is automatically calculated. An FTE of greater than a 1.00 designation is not valid. 1.00 is the full-time designation, so be sure to check this FTE before saving your record. Next, we'll go into the assignment screen summary, which provides some basic information about exactly what your teacher is teaching, and it allows the State Department to check for proper licensure. I'm going to go through 3 examples. These are some coding errors that we just want to point out. If you do not see an assignment code for a person, that pretty much means that that person is not qualified to teach that assignment, and you must select the position code of non-authorized. Once you pick that position code, then all the assignment codes will be shown. Now, this may trigger a plan of intent for most assignments. So in this example, if Marissa was teaching a high school English class, we can look at her license, and you will not be able to get to this screen, but I'm just going to show you what we can see from our screen. So again, this is a fictitious person, and Marissa has been issued an elementary license with a principal program, and then she has endorsements in language arts, social science, and natural science, along with some coaching authorizations. So she is not properly licensed to teach a high school English language arts class. So if we were to add this assignment to her record, you would simply pick the high school attendance center, pick the high school teacher, and if you notice, she has fine arts, but she's licensed in fine arts for non-credit classes, miscellaneous classes, and religion. You're not seeing any English language arts. Instead of picking, a class that, maybe is English but not an English comp type class, you need to remember to switch that position code to non-authorized. Once you pick that position code, you will see all of the various SCED codes that the State Department has to offer, and you will be able to select that she's teaching English language arts. You can designate whether it's a semester course or a second semester course, and pick the number of classes and the FTE. I'm just going to make up an FTE for this record. Whoops, I forgot she was already at a .99. So I'm just going to designate a point, or wait. Oops, I did the wrong one. See, anyone can screw up. Even me. All right. So now you can see that she is listed as non-authorized. And like I said, when you use that position code, for most assignment codes, it's going to generate a plan of intent. If I were to go to the plan of intent menu, we are going to see a plan of intent for Marissa Adkins. Okay, so that was my first example of an encoding error that can be corrected. And the next one is all teachers in a Title I school program that are considered Title I teachers. In the past, if the teacher pulled students out of the class to provide instruction, they were coded, for example, as a Title I reading teacher. This position will not roll forward as your funding changes, say, from targeted to school-wide funding. This is a back-end table that I am showing you. You do not have access to this table, but I just want to show you that Apple Blossom Elementary went from targeted assistance, and now its designation is school-wide. So if we were to look at Roseanne's record, you will notice that her total calculated FTE is a 0.5. Her full-time equivalency did not roll forward because she was coded as a title teacher, but they are no longer receiving targeted assistance at that school. So now, instead, this position should now be coded as a reading intervention teacher. To do that, you will pick the elementary, you'll pick the elementary school teacher, and then you will just pick like a departmentalized reading code, the number of classes, and the FTE. The checkbox that you need to make sure you make use of is the intervention in reading, math, science, language, arts. And then you save that record. So that's my first scenario for the title area. And those teachers should be coded as reading intervention. However, if the example would have been an assignment where they are integrating the interventions into the school day in, say, a homeroom setting where the students are coming and reading in the homeroom, it should be based on the job that teacher is doing and not how it's funded. So if that is the scenario, instead of picking reading, you would just simply pick the homeroom designation and assign an FTE to that. So again, if the school integrates interventions throughout a whole school in a manner where the teachers are providing some type of interventions during the school day, you know, or once per week, they should be coded to the subject they are teaching, like I walked you through in the first example. And, you know, otherwise they should be coded to the subject they are teaching and not, or the job they're doing. So if it's a homeroom teacher and the kids are coming there and reading, then you can just code them as the homeroom teacher. Okay, my next example I'm going to go into is the coding of preschool teachers. So I'm going to bring up Carol Smith's record. And there seems to be an issue with the way our preschool teachers are being listed. We submit a federal file, and the federal government then matches up if there are preschool kids enrolled on the student system, and they make sure that I then list an FTE for that district of preschool teachers. So this year I had quite a few errors on this submission of this file. And it seems like districts are listing them as either ungraded, or they're listing them as multi-grade combination room, which makes sense in South Dakota because we're a rural state, and there might be preschool with kindergarten with first graders, so on and so forth. Or they're listing them as junior kindergarten. And the correct way to list your pre-kindergarten teachers is to list them at the attendance center, list them with the position code of pre-kindergarten teacher and the assignment code of pre-kindergarten teacher. Now, a lot of the teachers that districts hire may be an elementary certified teacher, and they don't have this special preschool, birth to preschool licensure or early childhood licensure. So a lot of districts do not want to put them in as non-authorized. And I'm going to show you, if you use the position code of non-authorized, I told you previously that for the most part, every assignment code will generate a plan of intent, but that is for K-12 assignments. This is a pre-kindergarten assignment. So if we were to save this as non-authorized and go to the plan of intent menu and look for Carol Smith, you're not going to see where it's requiring that she obtain licensure. All right, my last example of coding, let's go to Bill Sampson. Bill was listed as the special education teacher last year, And so those records were coded with the position code and assignment code of special education. Now, that is fine for those who are are providing special ed services, but when the special ed teacher is the teacher of record and is awarding the grade for a core content assignment, there's another way that you need to code that data. So I'm just going to adjust his FTE, and so some of the time he can be, coded as the special ed teacher, but in this example, he also is the teacher of record for a junior high assignment in language arts. Now, if you notice, again, this is hitting the live certification database, and based on his license, he's licensed in PE Health, non-credit, miscellaneous, and religion. A lot of times the special ed teachers will take a praxis test that gets added to their license. It doesn't add any further endorsements, but it allows them to be highly qualified to teach those assignments. So what you need to do is switch their position code to non-authorized, and after that you would be able to pick that he was the teacher of record, providing the curriculum and assigning the grades to a child on an IEP. And then if you look at your checkbox, there is one that says special ed teacher, who is the teacher of record and awards the grades for a core content assignment. You need to remember to place a check mark in that box so that it goes through the special ed calculation instead of the regular ed calculation. So that is the synopsis for the staffing menu, and if you have questions, please let me know. It looks like I'm going to have to speed up a little bit because that took a little bit of time. All right, next, any district that employs a teacher or administrator who's not currently who is non-certified or serving outside of their current certification need to have on file with the Department of Ed a plan of intent stating how the district intends to ensure that that teacher or administrator is serving on its valid license in their certified areas. So the plan of intent must be fulfilled within 1 calendar year, and the information you enter on this screen is either checking for state certification if it's a private school, or say a tribal school. Anything that's any non-public schools, it's checking for state certification. For the public schools, it's checking for the highly qualified status for your core content teachers, and it's identifying positions which should not be prompted for a plan of intent, such as a preschool teacher. It's also identifying those who need to complete a plan of intent for special education purposes. Say if they're receiving the alternative, the alternative, they're assessed at maybe a grade level below, what their age is. You also would need to continuously fill out a plan of intent for those individuals. So now you see the list of individuals who will need to complete a plan of intent, again for this fictitious district, and there are several important fields that you will need to fill out for this person. So we're going to pick on Marissa. And when we go into Marissa's record, you will see that she has been identified as on a plan of intent for 3 or more consecutive years. And in addition to filling out this plan of intent, you will need to request a waiver from the Department of Education. And for more information about the waiver process, you need to go to this link and fill out that paperwork. And if you have questions, you can contact them here. Now the thing is, the deadline for the personal record form system is October 15th, and you will not be allowed to sign the assurance statement until that waiver has been approved and processed. So you don't want to hold off until October 14th or 15th to enter and get this paperwork submitted. You want to do this right away. Next, you need to select what the plan of action is. We're going to say that she plans to take the praxis exam. It'll tell you exactly what praxis exam she needs to take, and then it's going to ask you what date she plans to take the test by. Here's the kicker. If she takes it prior to May 1st and she's employed in a public school system, you can have that teacher's highly qualified status in place before the report card figures go live. Because what you need to think about is after this person takes it, it takes a little while for ETS to process the score for this individual. And then that needs to be loaded onto, the endorsement needs to be loaded onto that person's certificate. So you need to be encouraging your staff to take this prior to I've got October 15th on my mind for the PRF deadline. You need to encourage this individual to take this prior to May 1st so that your report card figures will show that that person is highly qualified. Next, you need to indicate the reason the individual was hired, and you can list any comments you want for that individual and justification as far as why you hired that individual. And save that record. Once you come back to this screen, you do need to refresh it. And you'll notice that when you've completed the plan of intent, it's important the person who is requiring the plan of intent be involved in the decision-making process. There's an icon for an email message, and you know, this needs to be sent to them and let them know that you are submitting a plan of intent for them to gain licensure. I'm not going to send anything because that is a fictitious person. So in a nutshell, that is the plan of intent. And we can move into the classified staffing. I'm just going to quickly show you another screen. This is the personal record form website again, and you'll notice I forgot to point this out, but each section, each menu has a manual. So now we're moving into the classified staffing, and if you click on the classified staffing instructions, you can either print out the manual, or you can save a tree and just you know, go to edit and find. A lot of times when I get asked a question, I go out to these manuals and I find where the answer is, and then I send it to the individual. So just a quick little point out for the classified staffing manual. Okay, so again, this is personnel information, which is part of our annual fall accreditation reporting process. The personnel included in the classified staff are staff that are not required to be certified through the Department of Education. So that is the distinction between the classified menu and the staffing menu. These individuals in the classified menu may obtain their licensure through another entity, but the State Department doesn't have to check that they have proper licensure. This menu is only available to the publics, the co-ops, and the state special schools. So for the rest of you, you may want to take a brief coffee or potty break. I'm just going to go over it really quick. This is an easy submission. So again, you click on Actions, District Information, and then Classified Staffing to get to this menu. You're going to see this screen, and if your district continues to employ classified staff, then you can click on Yes, and that you agree to enter these staff. However, if your district no longer employs classified staff, you would click on No. Now, if you click on No, it's going to delete all your entries, so don't just mess around and do as I say. Don't do as I say. Just leave it as Yes. So the information from the previous year is pulled into this database for the current school year. You can do one of three things. You can add new positions by clicking on the Add button and enter the FTE, or you can edit previous positions. If you had an accountant bookkeeper and you went from 1.5 employees to just a 1 employee, you can edit the FTE, or if say you no longer employ an athletic director, you can click on the icon that looks like a trash can and delete that entry. Again, this is a quick this is just the quick and dirty what this menu collects, and I'm not going to go into much depth. So this is the classified staffing, and next we will move into the paraprofessional menu. If you have questions about the classified, please speak now. Okay, so next we're going to go into the paraprofessional menu. Again, I switched screens on you. This is the personal record form website. You can click on the paraprofessional menu and then get directly to the instructions. And on the system, you need to go to the paraprofessional menu. Paraprofessional provides instructional support. These are individuals who work in food service, those individuals that work in food service, cafeteria, or playground supervision, personal care service, non-instructional computer assistants, and similar positions are not considered a paraprofessional. So you will see the following screen. If your district continues to employ paraprofessionals, then you do need to click on Yes, as this shows that you agree to enter these staff. However, if your district no longer employs paraprofessionals, then select No. Again, if you select No, it's going to delete those that rolled forward from last year. As far as the paraprofessionals, you can edit the duties or you can add new employees. If we look I created a fictitious record for myself and entered my hire date. The one thing that we did update this year is for those that are planning to take the Parapro test through ETS. If you enter as far as their qualifications other, and you indicate that they plan to take the paraprofessional assessment through ETS, but haven't taken it yet, our system now, as they pass these scores, will pre-populate the qualification for past state tests to the system automatically once we receive those scores. Now, this is only for those who provide their Social Security number when they register for these tests through ETS. Additionally, this does cause a problem for the two figures because they won't reconcile when someone goes from being non-qualified to qualified. In the other screen, the student information screen that you have to enter. So if we go back to our student information screen, this is where you identify the types of students the paraprofessional assists. So you have to reconcile the figures that are at the bottom. Right now it's telling you that you have 5 that are qualified and 1 that is non-qualified. And this pre-populated, but it's showing that you served 1 in regular ed, 1 in 3 to 5, and so on and so forth. But that you had that 1, which was myself, that was not qualified. Well, once that score automatically loads and switches that qualification to being qualified, you still need to remember to reconcile this screen and move this figure from not qualified over to qualified, because we don't have a way to connect exactly what student that teacher is serving. Questions on the paraprofessionals? All right, I just switched screens on you again. This is the personal record form website. The next menu is the bus drivers, and the instructions are here. So all districts are required to access this menu, even if you have no bus drivers to report. Again, there's a question that says, does your district have bus drivers? Yes or no. By clicking on no, it does delete the records that we rolled forward for you. So basically, the important part in this screen is that these records are verified. You need to verify that this person has received training for a bus driver in the past 5 years. Yes or no, and put in the training date. It does roll forward what you entered the previous year. And you also need to break out the FTE between special ed and regular ed. For those kids that have transportation on their IEP, you need to input a portion of the FTE into special ed. The rest, if they're serving regular ed, you can input it there. And then you just need to designate whether they are employed by the district, contracted, or a substitute. For those substitutes, you can enter 0 as the FTE because you don't know exactly, how much you're going to use them yet. Questions on the bus drivers? Again, I'm speeding up because I'm noticing I have 5 minutes left and I have 3 menus to cover still. The next one is your special ed contracted services. And like I said earlier, you are not responsible for entering the co-op employees. The part that you need to be aware of is in the SPED contracted services. There is a button that you need to print out and show your special ed director that the co-op is stating that these employees are serving your district as a school psychologist, as a special ed teacher, or as a speech language pathologist. So again, if you hover at the bottom of the screen, you'll see where you can print off the report. Otherwise, you need to enter your contracted services, whether they're at a hospital or a private facility. Do not select private and then write in here co-op or whatever co-op you're getting services for. You do not enter your co-op services in this menu. Questions about the SPED contracted services. Next, I'm going to go into the South Dakota virtual schools. Again, the instructions are out there, and this is something the South Dakota Department of Ed approves these courses, and students can be assured that these courses offer, the state's highest academic standards. To get to that menu, you click on the South Dakota Virtual School. Again, it's going to ask you, do you offer classes? And you need to say yes or no. Once you say yes, you need to select the school type. You need to select the course, and then you need to enter the number of students. The only change this year is you don't have to wait till these courses are approved. We are using all of the various SCED codes that we offer at the State Department. So right away you should be able to make these entries. Questions on the vacancies? I'm sorry, on the virtual school? My mistake. Next, I'm going into vacancies, and that's why I have vacancies on my mind. So again, you can get to the instructions and either print them out, or you can save a tree and just search for them. Whoops. Okay, so vacancy data has been collected by the South Dakota Department of Ed for a number of years. We, however, felt it was important to make changes to this collection so we can ensure we are receiving accurate and reliable data from the districts. We are concerned about the shortage of teachers and administrators, and this collection is an important tool to help us identify these problems that the districts are facing. So based on the information that you put in your staffing menu, you need to have that updated before you come into this vacancy, and all you're really doing is verifying that this data is accurate. So this information is being pulled from your staffing menu. There's two ways to do this. The first example I'm going to walk you through is Mary Creighton. And Mary is someone that is no longer employed at this district. So a no longer employment code was selected. Once you select that, it's going to ask you, was this position vacant the first day of school? If it was left vacant, you can say no, it was left vacant. Otherwise, you can say yes, it was filled. Then you need to make a decision as a result of the vacancy position. What did you decide to do? Once you save this entry, it's going to populate to the vacancy menu. And when you go into that record, you'll notice it deleted the assignments from the staffing menu, but it pulled in last year's assignments. And that way we know exactly what assignments went vacant from the previous year. So like I said, there are two ways to encode this data. The second way is for those staff who change positions within the district. If you have a staff person who continues to be employed with the district, however, that person has changed their job, you will need to, in the staffing menu, if we go to Roseanne Cash. In this scenario, you will not select a no longer employed code. This is new this year. And you will need to place a check mark where it says that this person switched positions within the district and the previous position is still vacant. Once you select that, it's going to default to no, it was left vacant and the position is still vacant. But it's going to allow you to switch the assignment records. In the previous scenario, it deletes those, but in this scenario, it's going to let you switch their assignments to what they're doing this year. It's also going to create a vacancy record, and the vacancy record is going to be based on last year's assignment. You're seeing that she was employed in this capacity last year. So that is a quick overview of the vacancy. The last step is what you need to have done by October 15th, and this is the assurance statement. So don't leave it till the last minute in case there are some errors that you need to get corrected and need to work on. You can come into this screen at any time and see if any errors are detected. You just click, and as you notice, we did not get a check mark here because there are some records in the staffing menu that have not been updated. If you look at the updated current year column, there are still records that need to be updated. But again, you can go through all of your errors, and you can be checking how you're coding data at any point, and what your goal is to get check marks in each and every one of these boxes, and the bottom half is a little different. You're asked to place the check mark in the below boxes to indicate that you're in compliance, that all birth certificates are on file, that all immunization records are on file. If you're experiencing some delays in obtaining these records, you can place a written note in the below comment box in identifying what items you are still waiting for. Again, you just need to place a check mark in each and every one of these, stating that you are in compliance, and you can do this bottom half at any time. You just need to remember to click on Save Changes so it holds your changes. Once you have check marks in each and every one of the boxes, your sign off button will light up, and that's when you can sign off that yes, indeed, we are done with this submission by October 15th, and life is good. So I'm sorry I went a couple minutes over here, and hopefully you all win your homecoming games, and I wish you the best.